see if this all is gonna work. Da-da-da. Maybe. There we go. Ah. I did beat the thing. Again, not on stream.
밤이 되었지만
Yes, we should watch the thingy. Watch the thingy. I'm out of round. The lamp's almost out too. We're holding him back for now, but we won't last much longer. No BS. I can last. The lighthouse, not so much. What difference does that make? Not much. So as we're reeling in from the battle against the enemy, who is like a force of nature, more like a force of nature than human. Not giving us much time to breathe, the knight fixes the spear and gets charging at us again. It didn't take long for the severity of the situation to dawn, and so I quickly began to rack my head with desperation, with a desperate wish. What can I do? What can I do here? And then, through the mist, the black space begins to envelop my mission once again. Wait, this is just like... From the dark, the light shines again. I reach out toward it and see, unlike the earlier phenomenon, which focused entirely and powerfully on Scully, a singular drill, what I saw this time was in a place called Casimir's. The space was filled with the brim, but things Nakai would lose her mind over, like knights and their countless fans in the arena which contest one's medal. But one in Amia's thoughts sits from all of that glory, a very mundane looking office. He wears a well-kept set of clothing, wears eyes, with a psychic focus on reading the newspaper. The man looked more like an office worker than a knight, but the most striking part of the scene was the banner hanging on the wall, and the sword. Nakai was the first thing that came in mind. Can she, our ardent admirer of knights and pursuer of glory, spin the energy from his sword as her own? Wait, no, he's different. I need someone who doesn't pursue glory, someone who can handle their own tarnished glory. Someone who can detachedly wield the entirety of their begone honor is... Bugman! Yes, there's just one. I'll trust you, Gregor. Use his ego to... You into the knight's charge. Split the waves. Use the light to split the waves, huh? There, you might have read to do this.
이 거, 이 명예는, 이 영광은.
Well, it looks cool.
빛바래지.
Incandescent gold blades of light surge forth, cleaving the darkness of the sea. The night was as the parries, each of those lights away, but he comes to a stop in the last of the gold rays, cuts across the sea and looks in the direction as if to admire it. And finally, the lighthouse makes a low, resonant creaking noise before firing a bright light towards the ocean horizon. Mares has completed the repairs. Ooh, the light returned to its house once more. Science, all Mares saying something. Like I said, Mares was speaking out the window and shouting something at us. Assos is still near the shore, somewhere on the coast sea. It's more somewhere on the beach. Somewhere quite close. And somewhere quite a bit of distance away from the village coast. Confirmed all radio. Tell us it immediately. You know, that's all well and good, but what about the monster? Yeah, what if it charges like us again and destroys it? I heard that talk during our battle, but I don't think that creature is capable of actually communicating with them. This would be a problem. Don't get close to it. But before we could stop her, Nakai was already approached as close as she could to the seaboard, her eyes twinkling. She takes a breath to admire the knight and his steed for asking in an energetic tone, "O mighty knight, what is the name of thy noble steed?" Roshante. Wait, she can make it? Ooh, that's quite well. My noble steed is also named Rosh. One who is not a comrade. They are a steed, you say. Forsooth, a steed most fine indeed. It has served me well over countless adventures of mine, despite its appearance. So I must inquire thee, noble knight. Where thou strike this lighthouse so? We saw our meal. It was not the waves. The waves were darker and more raucous. Perchance there was a tad misunderstanding here then. Good night, and mine and compatriots are now embarking upon an adventure most important, yet with thy instruction we are unable to do so. For thee, wilt thou return to whence thou came? Thou give a knight with a stance that was at once courteous and brave. The knight and his steed Rashante stared wordlessly back at Don Quixote. Wasn't sure if she managed to get through the night, or if the knight just lost interest, but they both departed the lighthouse looking off to the far distance. Do they really exist? Seaborns whose hope for something other than just survival. Powerful seaborns lurk at sea. Are you alright, Donkey? You should be thankful it somehow yielded a positive outcome. Why are you going to fix that habit of rushing forward without thinking it through? My apologies. Well, Don Quixote returned the night with that bizarre conversation. Amina raised her voice happily as though she just received good news. That's just as the third was going. Doctor managed to infiltrate the vessel already. They've already been cleaning up the decks, and now they're waiting for the rest of us to arrive. It's been hardly 10 minutes since the tenant leaves. Doctors and the strategist, the case on the doctor's photos, I think they already had some plans in motion when we activated the lighthouse. Great! Let's return to Scotty and join. Return to the raft to explain what transpired. Charlie listened to us quietly before replying in the exact same manner she did before. Someone's going to have to stay behind. I'll stay. Go find the vessel and miss us. We're going to fuse. If we offer to help you, aren't you? Yep. We'll see you after we retrieve the vessel. Doctor, know what happened here? Well, da-da-da. One, two, three, four, 6 left. We'll see. Yeah, fight a bunch of things. Okay. Just beat that. I guess we can go with it, see how that goes. This is the doctor, researcher at Rhode Island. Nice to meet you. Then I, after realizing we went through, finally had a chance to meet the Doctor of Brood. I realized I've been building a vastly different image of him in my mind based on the name alone. I was thinking they were going to be someone like Yi Sang, Faust, or Hohenheim from LCE. But the first impression was similar to what I felt when I met a K-Corp employee. The clock just ticked. This is Dante, a manager at Olympus Company. Ticking just now was nice to meet you. Okay. Thanks for coming at me. I was pretty worried when we were separated at the border. I should thank you and Amy actually. We've been real pickle without her, so it's been embarrassing to repeat that myself. Dante says that we would have been a real pickle without Miss Amy. Sorry, Manager Bud can't talk human, so don't worry about it. We'll take over the translation. It is incorrect to say the manager cannot talk human. A more accurate assessment would state that the manager is capable of accessing psionic means of communication, which includes verbal communication. However, they are able to reduce repetition of multiple noises that may register on a similar scale to the thinking of multiple hands. Second hand, minute hands, or clock. I don't know, something the way Marcel put it sounds worse. Don't worry, it's not a difficult task when only a single individual has to be translated. Doctor, let's move to the next steps of the plan. Next steps? Thanks to Limbus Company's efforts, we've obtained the exact coordinates of them, managed to capture the decks with ease. However, Fabius, who is suspected to be a ship of the deep, and his followers have buried themselves inside the bridge control room. Though it may seem that they're hiding, I believe they're trying to bait us. As in, they're waiting for us down the bridge for summoning reinforcements from somewhere else. They trap us in the pincers. Something like that. The elsewhere is most likely to be the sea, as the reinforcements are probably more sea. Maybe it's a seaborn, and the ocean will answer to the call of their kind. Limbus Company and Irene will head to the bridge and neutralize Fabius. Ami and I will accompany you to the right port to identify the situation within the bridge. In the meantime, Cassett and the operators will remain on standby on the ship's exterior at the pre-designated locations. You'd like to avoid getting surrounded by sea terrors before you manage to take down the church deep within the bridge. There are several entry points leading straight to the bridge while we're working on repairing the vessel. The force doesn't seem numerous enough to close off all of them. That's true that there are many entry points here, but we don't need force guarding every single one of them, especially here. The hallway is narrow, long, and straight, so makes sense to me. How about here? Are you sure you're not overly focusing for a single checkpoint? Let's see. But on closer look, they talk funny things because yeah, seems like Camaro. This is finally in her environment. Got any questions, Manager Bud? I have no idea what they're talking about, if I'm being honest. Really? I saw you commanding the sailors here. You seem pretty adept at giving orders and making strategic decisions. Indeed, you seem quite adept at making on-the-spot decisions and identify the exploited weakness and patterns of the enemy. However, the Doctor and Elsewhere are operating on a fundamentally different field. No further elaboration is necessary. Agreed. The particular aspect of strategizing is not one Manager Dante's obligations, and even if there is a chance for them to engage in such settlement, it may be too early to do so. Is that so? It is, at least, is what Faust has judged. What are they all about? I was about to ask that myself. I don't know. I have no idea. When they finished their conversation with the Doctor over the plan, those heard wearing a grim look. Is there something wrong with the plan? No, there wasn't anything wrong with the plan. I expect a certain degree of confidence, but they were impressive far beyond my expectations. Really? That good, huh? Even if I back to my days in the line of duty, I can't think of too many like them. Alright, so they're dependable. Good enough for me. If your strategy is done, let's get cracking. Well, if you, Miss Mares, is it too much to face while the wait? Then you need not follow us. I decided to stay here anyway. The Doctor's going to update you in real time on where the safe zones are, so please keep that communicator close to you. I will. Hey, if Gramps is something you'd like us to do? No, it's nothing. If there's something you want to tell him, contact the communicator at any time. We're going to find a way to resolve this as peacefully as we can, but negotiations break down, you know? I know what you mean, Doctor. Be safe, everyone. Leaving Mares behind without her unfinished sentence, we follow the Rhodes Island team into the bridge. The bridge was gaudily decorated as ever. Bibius, flanked by hood, followers, and sea terrors, greeted us with a kind smile. Welcome. I truly do appreciate the kindness. Where didst thou seek to harm us? Your suspicions are certainly justified, but I implore you to think back. If you truly believe we had sought to harm you, then how would you explain the one peaceful night you had spent with Far Moon? We have never wished to harm you. We did not then, we do not now. Not even a day after you folks stab us in the back like cowards, you want us to believe in that. Our wish was always been the same. We only wish to extend the freedom to roam the seas to those with capable, kind-hearted souls. Mate, we just know you are trying to turn us into sea monsters of some kind. Monster is only a name. The essence of its being changes not regardless of the label given to it. Become one with the sea, one with the end of the cycle of life. And one day our misunderstandings will end, and you will come to understand this. Looks like the fight between us is going to be unavoidable. I pulled out dynamic cards, and the moment I saw Fabius raising his hand, the Doctor seems to have finished the preparations well, as they and Amia stood opposite. Incoming, get ready, everyone. Let's stop them for good, no matter how long it takes. The strategic formation priorities reducing sacrifice to absolute necessity. Their command sought to protect, sought to defend, and their forces were quick to follow. Rhode Island's operators were clearly impressive, but that's not exactly our style. All I can do is put my faith in the sailors and push on them forward on. Our style is trust me to bring you back, no matter how many times they cut you down. Let's wipe. It's like, sorry, this isn't the defense thing. I'm just gonna keep throwing you until you get it done. Blah 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 blah. Post. And I see us all not saying anything in the chat. Can't believe you would do that. It is a bit early though.
그렇게 시원하게 처리하니 보는 맛이 나는군. 일 처리는 빠르게 하는 편이 덜 답답한 거지. 왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라.
승객이 딱콩 한 방 먹였어.
얼얼하지?
대성공이야.
정신 못 차릴 거야.
가면 신나. 노래 부를까?
이 땅과 마님에게 손끝이라도 대려는 자가 있다니.
그간의 전투 경험이
내받지 않은
쓸모
소리 치워버리다.
적합한 조치였습니다.
또한 지식이 되도록
밝게 열어젖힌다. 골치 아픈 것들이 고기
이
조각이
땅과
되었군요. 딴테
손끝이라도 대려는 자가 있다니.
나쁘지 않은 성과입니다.
편히 쉬시게. 잠든
나라도
길을
그렇게 했을 테지. 이만하면
속에서.
훌륭했군요.
얼얼하지? 정신 못 차릴 거야.
지식을 마주하고 겸용하라.
확실히 훌륭하군. 5번 수감자. 덕분에 위험한 순간도 넘어간 적이 많다지.
목을 내놓고 있도록.
무지하니까 우와, 카론도 깜짝.
오자 터뜨려주지.
편히 쉬시게. 그대를
무얼
길을
잘못했는지 시작이랬어.
파쇄 완료.
직접 밝혀주마. 비명을 질러라. 무지에서 도피하지 말라.
우와, 카론도 깜짝.
오자 터뜨려주지. 파쇄 완료.
골치 아픈 것들이
이 또한
고기
지식이
조각이 되었군요. 딴테 나쁘지 않은 성과입니다.
That thing really doesn't want to have to fight, does it?
오자 터뜨려주지.
카론, 기다리는 거 못해.
목을 내놓고
대충은
있도록.
기다려줄게.
거둘 수 없다면 직접 후회를 새겨주지.
조금이라도 머리통을
지식을 마주하고
서 돌아온 줄
잘
알았다만
영원하지 않으니.
요즘 면담을 쉬긴 했지. 7번 수감자.
야, 이기는
이 땅과
편,
마님.
우리 편.
손끝이라도
직접
대려는 자가
밝혀주마.
있다니. 정리하겠습니다. 기대받지 않은 것들은 모조리 치워버린다.
내 피가 배고파 했어. 잘 됐다.
Where's the thing?
직접
알게 함이라. 깨달았나?
직접 하! 열어드리죠.
정리하겠습니다. 불청객은 찌그러져 있도록.
간당 목숨줄만 붙어있군.
목을 내놓고 있도록.
끝장날 수 있을 것 같은데 소감자들 효율적인 마무리를 명령하시겠지요, 단테.
풍속에서
불청객은 찌그러져 있도록.
Looks kind of very simple. I guess so.
자, 변신 완료. 만선이에요.
우와, 카룬도 깜짝.
이 땅과 만인에게 손끝이라도 대려는 자가 있다면.
지시모지에서 도피하지 말라.
골치 아픈 것들이 고깃 조각이 되었군요.
어두운
단테.
무지를 열어줬지라.
나쁘지 않은 성과입니다.
불청객은 찌그러져 있도록.
잠든 그대를 기릴 테니
지식을 마주하고 모지에서 도피하지 말라.
깨달았나?
멀미봉투는 좌석 밑에 있어. 메피한테 토하지 마.
나아가 주게.
깊게 닫힌 지사에게 열어젖힌다.
Of course you would lose.
계속해봐라. 이 폭풍이 잦아들 때까지.
That's not what I was hoping for.
맞는 거야.
상정웨이의 공격이었으니 이것까지 당신 탓을 할 순 없겠군요.
수익 또한 지식이 되도록.
알고 맞게 하진 않았을 테니.
Let's switch the other thing with this one.
유지하니까 맞는 거야.
아파 보여.
직접 알게 함이라.
그대 또한 잠들게.
직접 하! 알게 열어젖힌다.
삶은 영원하지 않으니. 거둘 수 없다면
총원, 조명이 전멸하는 저곳으로. 파도가 모든 쳐부술 거다.
우와, 카룬도 깜짝.
해체 억압 진행하겠습니다.
찢어 밝혀주마.
기대받지 않은 것들은 모조리 치워버리.
의심, 암귀, 불안과
일당과
공포
만개,
그런 것들이
손끝이라도 대려는 자가
들끓을 때가
있다.
가장 취약하죠. 알아듣겠습니까? 지금이 적기라는 것입니다.
걷잡을 수 없이 타올라라.
정리하겠습니다. 불결한 것.
위에서 당신을 관리자로 정한
겁날.
합당한
내게
이유가
바쳐주지.
있겠지. 기대하고 있겠습니다.
찢어 밝혀주마.
자.
또 3번
겁날.
수감자가
내게
짓이라도
바쳐주지.
했나 보군.
야호, 이기는 편, 우리 편.
일당과 마님에게 손끝이라도 대려는 자가 있다면
거둘 수 없다면 직접 후회를 새겨주지.
기대받지 않은 것들은 모조리 치워버리.
Okay. What is that? Oh. They're pretty persistent. Fabius flees again, using the ocean sea terrors and his followers as meat shields. Wait, no, I see it now. It's not Fabius who's putting them in harm's way to save himself. The sea terrors and cultists are throwing themselves in our way, entirely willing to sacrifice their lives to ensure that Fabius gets away. But for all that, the only place left around the flee on the ship, the wooded in corners, was the decks. Nowhere left to run, Fabius. They've said you can't help but continue to thrash and struggle to live, even knowing that there's no hope. But running's only going to make your pain worse. That's different. Fabius didn't run to live. Mirrors. You're quite different the moment she was a moment ago. Slowly, herself seriously told you that your methods won't win. Standing, Fabby. Oh, what a shame. I thought Prism and Aptitude would help you be able to realize your idea here, even after I'd left. It will be realized. Fabius may die here, but we will remain. Time. Devour me. When Fabius blurted out threw us off once again, even though we regained our footing from the shock of realizing Mir's true allegiance. Eat people? Oh, looks like we're about to give us a live demonstration of some commit. I heard it's a pretty common thing in 23 back streets, but I'd rather not see them in person. Hey, I think we're gonna look away. Is that okay, right? What? Dr. Weaker Seaboard than those be devoured by strong ones, thereby sharing their experience and nutrients. Good practice among them. This is behavior that preserves survival over all else. This isn't done in any sense of sacrifice. Time is here. Devour me, set sail forward your ideal. Sorry, Fab, but I've still some canned food left for me on the ship. I think I'll delay becoming a seaborn for a while. I found a new destination. I'll gain a new power from there and become a seaborn. So now is not yet the time. If that is your will, Bishop. Don't worry, your flesh will be blinking of the sea. Mare waves her hand, the sea earth climb up the vessel ship and get carried. Ooh. That's right, the way it looked, Davis looked exhilarated. Narrate look of suffering or pain wrinkled his face at you. He turned away from the scene and could not describe anything else and kept on looking. Alice, is she? Don't need to ask any questions when the answer lies plainly but before you die. What's happening? Where did the young Mears? It wasn't Fabius. Mears was the bishop of the deep. Oh, yay! Bishop is following me all around. Isn't that lovely?
끝인가? 정말 한 놈도 남지 않았나? 그렇다면 어째서 이 분노가
We get some talking and then some fighting, I'm guessing. They've played us. Don't despair, we still have the upper hand. We defeated Fabius and his cause already, and even more sea terrors, we would be able to handle them without much trouble. Hey, Jaeger, just what were you thinking the entire time as you deceived us? I had the feeling I knew she was going to say to that. Either going to say it was for our sake, that it wasn't a deception at all, or maybe she'll finally give us one final gloating. But I heard reply the words which she carefully selected after gazing at the pearls and was not any that any of us could have expected. I'm sorry. I thought this would be the better way to approach you, but I see now it come across as nothing more than deception. Sorry. Don't they want to know why you're sorry, huh? That's because I did something wrong. Wait, hold on. You've been deceiving us all along, man, and you're just gonna... Why? What are you after? You're after the same thing the geezer was, didn't it? Turn us into your Vulcan, that it was all for our sakes, giving all the ridiculous excuses to turn us into one of these monsters? I do hope that you would one day accept becoming Seaborns, but I'm not about the demand that you let yourselves be transformed to the here and now. And saying that we all need some time to mentally prepare ourselves. May I understand your statement to be implying that you'll not be forcing this upon us should we refuse? That's correct. It'll be against the manners to do what Fabius did. Shoving sea terror cells inside your body out of nowhere. Manners, huh? Well, I was taken about by the fact that manners was bishop of the sea. It's also true. Odd people already? How dare you? You know that the mirrors has never tried to bring us harm like Fabius to attack the sinners directly. Well, she did almost get us in big trouble with Irene while explaining things to us. It also true that Mirror was extremely helpful so far. It was her that led us to the lighthouse, and it was her who stayed in the crumbling lighthouse to repair. We're done. That's a terrifying night. Continue to sail its walls. What was your actual relationship with the Fabius, anyway? There's someone who could once strove to realize the visions of our goal once converged, but not now. I was pretty taken back too when they attacked you back in the village. Maybe he got greedy when he saw Faust now this he got greedy. Fabius believed that welcome capable people as Vulcan would expedite Seaborn's revolution. So you're like some cult leader, but you don't necessarily want to antagonize us. Still haven't told us what you're after, though. I'm going to see that lies beyond the dimensional door. You're trying to flee to a different world where the Inquisition won't be able to chase you. This isn't running away. Just so I want to help the people of the city, that's all. So I'm bringing the Seaborns with me to the city. You're trying to invade the city of monsters, then? Then the foghorn suddenly bared and the ship shook as it began to move. Is this an automated settling program? The rest of us will now sail towards the dimensional door. I'll let Rhode Island and Irene go right in front of the door, so don't worry. You see, literally just tell us not to worry. Lost? Whose commission has not been determined if it indeed a dimensional door connecting straightly back to the city. No, it has to be. The warm, shining light and the voice from within is getting clearer and clearer. Why don't we just let them into the city? The battles thus far done well to demonstrate the level of danger Seaboard pose. However, I doubt get very far, even if they were the Undercity, don't you agree? and hung. We've all seen what happens when sapient, non-human entities enter the city. The head will take action the moment they realize their presence. Our cars, we must prepare ourselves for repercussions in case they decide to hold Olympus Company responsible once the dust settles. Yet, it's also very likely we will fully escape any culpability, as we saw in the memories of the Kong massacre. Your thoughts, boss? Urban nightmare. However, considering their specific attributes, it will not take long for them to rise from a star of city-level threat. There is a reasonable possibility maybe issued the impurities of all this clarification. Is that not an acceptable risk? It's not the head. He should be managed by wing. This isn't parable of a calamity. That Catalyst shook your head no. Your technology seems to be based on something else, which is neither origin, arts, or any other. That's precisely what would make your world vulnerable against Seaborns. Because they learn fast? Yes, those are the front lines of war against Seaborn, strictly strict to the use of traditional low-tech weapons. Pointing high-tech weapons against them is only going to make you an enticing meal. Then, can't we just let whichever fortune wing that ends up fighting these? You take into account that it will take a significant amount of time to earn their trust. Even if they were to be convinced, there would be other partners with alternative perfections than our complaining issues. The situation will rapidly grow out of control, and factors syndicates or fixtures get involved, unless the head designates a taboo to prevent it. Even then, considering that she has been saying yes. Possibly they may be capable of absorbing the head's technology as well, before they are expelled from the city. How do you plan on helping the pity of the city? They give them a chance to become Seaborns. What do you want to become Ain't all there either. That kind of help is that. Mayors, you know, no different from the Church of the Deeps is doing here. No, it is different, because someone showered the city with the light. The light? You mean with light, the white days and white night incident? How could it be? Becoming a Seaborn is to become part of the great will called We Many. By doing so, one can be reborn as an altruistic life form at the cost of ego and stuff. That's always been my issue with it. Everyone has beliefs of their own, dreams of their own. It feels so empty to lose all of that when they nimbly lose all their sense of become Seaborns. But I want each Seaborn to have their own wishes. But the light shining through the dimensional door to our world is too faint to push them toward that evolution. If only the light of the city could become more tangible. It just might be to give every Seaborn an identity of their own, to remain uniquely themselves. Then why is it you advocate towards those of the city that join the Seaborns when one could simply learn more of the light before returning here? And at first I thought all I needed was a clue to bear the illusion, but Dr. Lee's tales of adventures changed my mind. Mine adventures? You don't understand just how precarious you all are. And how would you, when you were born into that kind of world from the very start? A place where life has become a commodity and one of its few religions. The city has abandoned yesterday's to survive today, and by doing so is giving up on tomorrow's. Just as I needed the light, the city needs certain needs. Hold to life, their absolute unconditional selfless. But at the end of the day, it means that everyone will turn to monsters. People ostracize the other. Something that isn't like me, something that feels alien to me, something I don't know or understand. But that fear is natural, because Seaborns are not human. But you just have to cross that threshold once. Miss Mears, you believe nature of humanity to be evil? Humans are selfish, but that's not necessarily necessarily a bad thing. Good things can come from selfishness, that's for sure. But the side effects have become simply unsustainable. Doctor, you've seen countless battlefields where Rhode Island has fought tooth and nail for the right to the defected, but what came of it? Peace? No, it's the same, but still, we're all still getting better little by little. I'm not trying to decide who's small incremental steps and call them meaningless. Change takes time, and it should continue. I believe your efforts can be a beacon of light that will lead humanity towards a brighter. But what about everyone who has sacrificed while you're taking your time, taking those incremental steps? Every single day, an incremental change is marred by unjust death. Some are enslaved for no other reason than their differences. People live on the despair that seems to have no end. I agree with what the light told me. People are diseased. They're so sick that even in the far-flung future, and even on the day the world ends, they will continue to fail to look forward, obsessed with scrutinizing each other in search of those differences. Still going to bully and hate everyone with pointed ears, slaveing the hate. Even the orapathy is truly when orthopathy is truly eradicated, people are still going to suspect to choose someone as infected. People are imperfect beings. You're right, there probably isn't anyone out there who can really sacrifice themselves for the sake of others without nothing but perfect selflessness, but not when it comes to teamworks. They don't suffer from all this, nor are they coerced to sacrifice against their will. You have the power to press toward the better future built from mutual understanding. Because there's a different... Because they're kind of life form that seeks common ground instead of scrutinizing for differences. The belts. Three shape form shivers and materializes before mares. Couldn't quite tell what it was, but it was around and looked like a tool. It's possible she already met the conditions to F. Florence. Possible explanation would be the app's particular pull required to draw it out of her. For the instance, like the arts. What is happening from it? If our programming two-dimensional door increasing percentage of influence coming from the city, precisely. The actions of the philosopher returning to normal level seems to indicate that. Wait, can people, in other words, I mean, there's also manifest? Internal conflict and anguish is commonly among every intelligent entity, regardless of whether they are from city or not. Therefore, yes, possible. On the possibility, however, what does that mean? The potential to have Florence and Eagle implies the potential to distort as well. You've been dreaming a long time here, drawing your own picture of an ideal life. And you have chosen the ocean as the means of building a path towards it. Yet, why have you failed to take the leap of faith yourself? I had to make preparations. Seabirds are beautiful, there's no doubt about it. It's just that a key piece was missing is really achieved what I want. You're not being honest with yourself. You know very well that you're afraid of becoming one of them. The fear that your own creed might crumble, that you might lose your own self, your ego. The fear you might end up becoming nothing more than just another thing swept up in the effort to build the overwhelming will. Isn't it terrifying that this hope could just disappear in the print link? Wish she talked to you. Is something that was completely experience? If so, I'd appreciate an explanation. He's hearing that voice. When the singular faith that one had absolute confidence in breaks in one fell swoop, and their iron-clad will is shattered. People from the city have the potential to distort it in monstrous form at any time. They said these phenomena are often accompanied by distorted initial hearing and disembodied voice. Those who distort would often behave as though they were engaged in a conversation. Of course, the same could be said for those who awaken ego. At first, I thought it was Kathy, but it wasn't her. The voice was beautiful, comforting, and even cozy. The kind of voice that puts all deep contemplation to sleep, so calm and so warm. Yet no, there is more to the sunshine than its warmth. Sunshine. You don't share the interests of the other devotees. Survival isn't what you care about. What you really care about is giving everyone a chance to experience what it feels like to live in a world of warmth. Material it may be. Right. We have to be about more than just prolonging our existences. What really matters isn't survival, is that we leave behind our posterity, our legacy. As long as there's a guarantee that light can indeed protect the sense of self, it will be more than enough to convince people to come people. Please, you don't have to concern yourself with what other people think, Mears. But everyone has their own wishes. They can't just bulldoze over others theirs to force mine upon them. But that's not like you really believe, is it? You know that better than anyone. While you hesitate, countless people who are bound to the inexplicable bride will continue to suffer. That might be true, but it's okay. You don't have to hide the shape of your heart. Pick colors. The only thing you have to concern yourself is how can you lead the people of the city and then okay, we can't just hear operators. Operators unable to approach. She's surrounded by a strange field. Whenever someone could distort to reasons other than mine, the strange pressure could prevent the pros, as though to stop them from interfering. That applies here too. All the way other in love is our collective destination, after all. Please, let go of this tool that might break your heart. Don't force yourself to walk the path of thorns. Your pilgrimage needn't be that of suffering. You don't believe in any recourse to you other than this anyway. Do you think we should find a better, faster path with less suffering? Before more people inevitably hurt each other over their real intent? You're right. The recourse really has to happen faster. I can't waste any more time while people suffer. Follow your wishes, follow your desires, and pain. Let's show them the painting of your world reflected in your eyes. Before the they believe in becomes completely worthless. Mares the yearning float. It's in the shape of your heart, but what makes you want, and that makes you want to enter the city? But we still know so little about Seaborns, about Terra. Wherever may have lit the fire under your feet, can't bring you with us to the city as you are now. As soon as I had a chance to translate my words, Mare slowly turned to my direction as though she clearly understood me. But I must dump it. Your adventures were full of exhilarating tales. I saw confidence in every word and action of you and your friends, but that's not enough. You don't think they'll change? No. They will. In the far future, an inconsistent brilliance burst forth from Mare's vast light. I saw the ocean. Calm sound of gently lapping, crashing waves, the immense golden brilliance. Portal, where did it come from? Dungeon of the Fathoms. Gate that leads into one's heart. This periphery is where LCB departments specially begin. While what lies beyond this periphery does not necessarily warrant Rhode Island's persistence. And you guys, I don't know what kind of fathoms I'm walking into, but I have a feeling you're going to need, says Dr. Cat, going here to investigate the dimensional horror, but don't want us to turn our backs on people who can help. Rhode Island accept limited company's cooperation request. I'll go to you. You're still in Liberia. Cat Liberia's been to be handled solely by outsiders. I'll learn an incident connected to the Church of the Deep. Don't worry, it's not like this is the first time we're letting someone not in our group into a dungeon to the Fathoms. We'll be fine. We're sea terrors. Given the circumstances, likely they see that we're storming the lighthouse are coming this way as well. I'll call Scarlet here. You're staying behind then. Amia will go with you, Doc. Following Mares who had already disappeared into the portal, and we take our steps. Oh, so do we get a dungeon? Dungeon? Do I get dungeon? We do get dungeon. Don't know what I'm going to get down there, though. Where was that? I'm gonna go with this team, but we'll have to see. I don't know what stuff we'll get down there. Let's see if we can. This is the wars getting grimmer by the day. You see, terrors are coming, swarming. It's the day when the ocean-borne calamity broke and sunk Ayer's seemingly infinite stalwart growth. Aren't you going to the surface, Mares? More and more people are getting too anxious to stay in Ayer. If not, I'm not. If Ayer follows, it only means the surface is soon to follow. Why? Think you'll head to the surface too? I'm thinking about it. No, there weren't many of the people around me again to leave for the surface. Either tell them as we make close acquaintances. They all tried to convince me to leave with them, but leaving my home in favor of the land didn't feel right. Therefore, told calamity descended. It dealt a heavy blow to Ayer, but the surface suffered much worse. I had to help them. How could I not, after hearing that such a terrible thing has happened? I think I'll head to the surface. Seriously, the surface? Think hard about it before you go. Feeling now coming back might no longer be an option. Every day must be a struggle for them, at least. I don't want to fear for the immediate. I don't have to fear for the immediate tomorrow. So it's my responsibility to provide help as someone who is better off than them, even by a little. I know, but if I don't go to help, things will only get much more dangerous for the land dwellers. Maybe that dangerous the very thing that'll hurt you. I still think I have to help them. I've procured myself an Aegean research vessel at cheap price to bring me to the land. Been able to even submerge myself while moving. This wasn't exactly the best ship out there, and I normally wouldn't have even given it a second look, but I thought it would at least help me navigate the coastal sea. I didn't expect this. First thing I witnessed on the surface was the bottomless hostility toward the Ayer. They denied my and Ayer's offer for help for the sole reason I came from the sea. They denied my compassion, my research. We don't need your stupid research. You're from the same place as Calamity, aren't you? You think we're so stupid that we trust you? They confiscated my catalyst and tore my research apart. My wish to stand with them against Calamity was devoured by the hate born the same Calamity. Any kindness and compassion I gave them was repaid twofold in hatred and suspicion. Did the terrible conditions of the land transform them into monsters, or was this their nature? It wasn't long before the research all I bought from Ayer was confiscated out of suspicion. A few weeks later, when I finally came across that vessel by the beach, there was an uncanny name inscribed on the side, Rebellion de la Motte. But none of that was enough to stop me from continuing my research for the sake of the land dwellers. I thought I went through so many trials and errors and somehow impede the sea terror's rapid evolution to deliver so contaminated by the Nether Sea brand. But my work bore barely any fruit, and I let the day float as I watched the Inquisitor arrest the air one by one. When the sea terror sample and the research note came into view, they all looked completely different from one another, some of them with fundamentally different physiologies. Even still, nothing them from being us instead of I. For the first time, I became doubtful of my efforts to interrupt their evolution. Their tales were not entirely fabrications. Here's the bishop of the Sea, so that makes you a sinner in the eyes of the regardless of her reasons. The more I studied, the more I found them to be much more such compassionate, altruistic creatures. All they cared about was their survival, without even a hint of selfishness. They're not some evil monsters from the sea. Yes, I can see that seaboards may not be evil, but it doesn't matter what they are, whether they are life forms or if they're simply a different form of civilization, it doesn't matter. Because Iberia and their Inquisition does not define seaborns as evil. Seaborns are our enemy. Threats to human existence. I have but one thing to say as an Inquisitor. You, all of you, are my enemy. But it would be a good thing for the Inquisition if I were to leave the city, wouldn't it? Why do you say that's a good thing for us to toss our problem into another world? That'd be like abandoning our pride. Unless the people say give you permission as an Inquisitor, I can't let you do that. And I don't get your hopes on that either. You can wrap in a box and say compassion all you want, Maris, but your course isn't exactly the direction I'd sail in. As rest of the citizens prepare for battle in silent agreement with Ishmael's stand, Mirror's mother's genuinely disappointed. I didn't want to have to do this. Waves. I had no better word to describe the horde of sea terrorists crashing into us. But this is the only way it could have ended. Your words are composed entirely of your own color, and no one else's. Imagine, aren't they, right? You speak. You will hold the line and defend this place against the sea terrors rushing in from the rear. So in the meantime, can you take down Maris and deal with the remaining sea terrors? Absolutely. The matter has responded affirmatively. All operators will be drawing the sea terrors to us. You don't need to take them all down, we just need to act as well between the wave and the people of Limbuscon. Irene, I would like to ask for your help as well, as for now. Please assist Lisbon coding just in case. Okay, then let the mission begin. Let's see, I don't know what stuff they'll have here. Yes, we have fights. We have fights, we have another fight, and then there's stuff before you hit the boss. The question is, will I get this done before Matsu gets on? Okay, you and you and you. You and you and you and you. Wait.
뜀박질 싫어.
囚人の皆さんの状態に
일기당천.
何か変化が
하나 넘고 둘 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라.
敵に対して大きな打撃を与えます
너는 못 따라나.
エリートオペレーター並みの腕前です
목을 콱 물어버리자고.
말로 받아내라.
ドクターの優れた
보려내.
効果的な攻撃でした
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도
ダンテ
없겠구나.
さんの作戦とても効果的でした
깨우치시게.
다시 바람 불어오는 놈을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
このままいけば敵を食い止められます
Is this a kill pan encounter or is it?
이 앞에 숨쉬는
Well, I guess I'll find out.
살려보내지 마라. 목을 떨고 놔. 혈염도 바로. 뭐야? 넌 푸름을 틔우게 바람 불어오는 대로 짓밟아라.
빈틈 투성이네. 敵は深手を追って
Oh, it's kill 15. Okay.
이제 깨우치시게. 이제 깨우치시게.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠고.
Ta-da! And it's it. I don't know what... Because it's usually... Let's see. Nothing happened. Okay, so there should have been something. Okay.
사랑과 정의.
Alright, I don't know what you would get, though.
囚人の皆さんの状態に何か変化が。
베어넬이
시비수에게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨쉬는 자 말로 받아내라.
敵に対して
저
大きな打撃を与え
도려내
ました。ドクターのように優れた式ですね。
길을 열어.
Boom.
効果的な攻撃でした。
마음 놓고 열어젖히고
어머, 놀랐어?
ダンテさんの作戦、とても効果的でした。
혈염도 바로. 모아쳐라.
불쌍하게 울부짖는군.
このままいけば敵を食い止められます。
무용하군요.
뭐라 너 죽었네. 어디로?
가치 없군.
こ
죽어.
のままいけば敵を食い止められます。
넘고
多数討伐確認。敵は
겹겹의
深手を追っています。
뚫어보이겠어.
불가 위야. 막아내지 못하리.
이제 끝내지.
고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나.
무용하군요. 이제 깨우치시게. 어머, 놀랐어?
敵は深手を追っています。
흑수묘 뒷박질 중.
마음 놓고 열어져 치고
味方が優勢です。今こそ勝
일기당천
機をつかむ時です。
고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나.
바람 불어오는 대로 짓밟아라.
이 거리는 충분해. 너한텐 조금 멀겠지만.
このまま行けば敵を食い止められます。
넌
막아내지
푸름을
못해.
틔울 수도 없겠구나. 하나 넘고
I don't know what that thing is. We have a big fight.
야음을 틈타.
囚人の皆さんの状態に何か変化が。
목을 콱 물어버리자고.
고작 이 정도.
넌 푸름을
敵に
틔울
対して
수도 없겠구나.
大きな打撃を与えました。
어머, 놀랐어?
이제
ドクター
끝내지.
のように優れた式ですね。
혈염도 바로. 뭐야 타라.
効果的な攻撃でした。 エリートオペレーター並みの腕前です。
날개를 펼치고 발톱을 걸어.
불쌍하게 울부짖는군.
뭐라면 죽었네. 다음은 너.
가치 없
ダンテさんの作戦
죽어라.
とても効果的でした。
목을 콱 물어버리자고.
시비수에게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨쉬는 자 누구 하나 살려보내지 마라. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
敵は深手を負っています。
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
무능하군요.
敵は深手を負っています。
아직 죽지 마라.
말로 고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나 저 해충들을 도려내라. 오여 길을 열어라.
適した攻撃でなくとも最善の選択だったはずです。敵は深手を負っています。
일기당천.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
아직 죽지 마라.
토끼를 고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이 저 해충들을 도려내라. 묘여
エリートオペレーター並みの腕前です。
날개를 펼치고 발톱을 걸어.
고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나
넘고 셋 넘고 무수히 넘고 얼마든지 꺾고 제
You came on horse, eh?
多数討伐確認。
가치 없군. 죽어.
エリー
겹겹의
トオペ
중
レーター並みの腕前です。
뚫어 보이겠어.
흑수묘. 빈박질 춤이지. 끝내지.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠군.
바람 불어오는 대로 짓밟아라.
Hmm.
아는 것을 모른 채 할 순 없으니
No, okay. Let us go.
사냥감인가 몸이 끓어오르는군.
Hmm. His eyes. This is unclashable.
모든 것에
敵
견뎠어.
の調子が悪くなっているみたいです。
This
일기당천.
시비수에게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨쉬는 자 말로 받아내라.
敵に対して
저
大きな打撃を与え
도려내
トムカーのように優れた式ですね。
길을 열어라.
適した攻撃でなくても最善の選択だったはずです。
トム殿이제 깨우치시길.
効果的な攻撃でした。
혈염도 바로 모아쳐라.
Well, it's just gonna hit her.
승리를 위해서라면
Oh, well, hit everything else as well. That's what.
ダンテさんの作戦とても効果的でした。
헤어내리.
이제 깨우치시길.
친히 목을 떨궈 주마. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
마음 놓고 열어젖히고.
차!
敵は深手を負っています。
Indiscriminate, huh?
날개를 펼치고 발톱을 걸어. 친히 목을 떨궈 주마. 고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나.
바람 불어오는 대로 짓밟아라.
숨통 끊기.
더는 하늘에 오르지 못한다 해도 당신의 풍경 끝없이 아래.
빈틈투성이네.
エリートオペレーター並みの腕前です。
날개를 펼치고 발톱을 걸어.
이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
고작 이 정도 탕류에 허덕이나.
불쌍하게 울부짖는군.
한 넘고 셋 넘고 무수히 넘고 얼마든지 꺾고 제쳐라.
더는 하늘에 오르지 못한다 해도 당신의 품이야 끝없이 아려.
모든 걸 거둬들일 순 없었어.
エリー
겹겹의
トオペレ
중
ーターの身の腕前です。
뚫어 보이겠어.
목을 콱 물어버리자고.
토끼를 고작 이 정도 탕류에 허덕이나. 저 해충들을 도려내라. 묘여.
이 스며들 듯하는 비. 우산이 새지나 않나 모르겠어.
잠깐만.
囚人に致命傷を確認。急対処お願いします。これも作戦の一環。リンバスカンパニーの戦い方。
불가 위야. 막아내지 못하리. 이 전투는 승리할 거예요.
これがリンバスカンパニーの戦闘。私もまた一つ学ばせていただきました。
You've aged a lot since we last met, Daddy. Is this a characteristic of your race? You haven't aged a day. So what brings you to the church indeed? Seaborns are indispensable in my preparation for the impending meal. Meaning I have nothing else to ensure the survival. Thus, it would only be right for me to join hands with those who are willing to become seaborns, to search for a way to prolong our existences. We only use the knowledge of the wise and the talented as nourishment for seaborns. Won't do anything more than prolong our existences. But survival alone, Nana? But the bishop of the church would share a majority of the belief with me. You and I both have been on our faith, that put our faith in the sea. The word faith might mean something different for you than it does for me. We were trying to be our object of worship. We have to stand on equal grounds as them and set our eyes on their nature. Please, step aside. Desperate, sadness, sympathy, these emotions got forward, carry a land in which is hated and different. A city, a place with people crushed by the trials of life, have suffered to it. They both need the seaborns, perfected beneath the light. It is but your wish, Sauce does not believe to be necessary elements for the city. Even in the city, there are people who are searching for reasons to live on, dreaming of a better world. We all know that it can't possibly be easy to change, but there is kind of value, their worth value in the process alone. No lives we lead within the city. Worth could be there to be to a life of the unkind, the kind of humanity assumed to exist in. For all we do is hurt one another and hate another. Listen, efficient order, natural altruism. They're both virtues humanity should never lose sight of. But there's no such thing as absolute when it comes to the value of life. Survival is the right of all civilians, which means that it should never be up to the others to define the life worth of life, to argue for it. What if there's no other way? Can you even understand what I'm saying? Some time had passed since I made my home. Unlike my prediction, the Seaborn Civilization lost its explosive progress, and fellows seemed to be content just observing their slow development. Maybe it's because they're directionless, without a specific wish. Even still, the Seaborns were the key to changing terror of the land. To stand against the incoming calamity, we need their survival and viability and the humanity that has turned exhaustion into ill-needed the Seaboard's blind, selfless altruism towards their own. So while I never stopped my studies, something small but sharp continued to stab at my frustrated. Solidified and unable to move. If we were to even lose even our sense of selves and creed, assimilated into the stagnated great will, for the sake of survival, civilization had to be no more. For the sake of us, I had to be. The realization of the past made the first crack in my confidence that Seaborns were the answer to the problem in Liberia, the land they may faced, and through the cracks the seeds of doubt were sown. But they had already come too far to find path more beautiful than Seaborns. No more wasting time with these stupid ruminations. There has to be a way, some kind of conditions Seaborns need to fulfill to retain their sense of selves, to retain their individual hopes and wishes. Instead, they drift atop the nation of I dedicated to the precious, holding on to the precious hope. It's healed my shaking heart. And that was the easy part. There are no better solutions. Don't look away from the answer that lies right in front of me. All I need to do is find a way for Seaborns to hope and wish, to have them carry a sense of self. I just had to repeat that to myself like a mantra again and again. During my drifting days came to an end, I found a new path, illuminated by the strange light from across the sea. On the day, yes, the day that the faint blue light shone, a whisper visited me. It was there, that voice is. What? The answer sought through the end of people I didn't realize played over and over in my ears. The voice that spoke was muffled but warm and light the city. The hearts that were lost, the emotions that were forgotten, the sense of self that... No, that's enough of that. But I'd like to hear more about the light. Light that had sprouted from the 10 roots. An image of those words grew in my mind was clearer and more beautiful than there. The city, they both failed to find a way out of this bridle. If they're going to be satisfied with living on as they are, then you can't change what you see by standing still. If you want to bring about better world, then even if it may be lost in the ideals, you have to keep walking. Survival, worth life, as I've never been too certain about either of these complicated ideas, I had no unflinching creed which to convince her. That's not to say that there was no need of an altruistic nature may wants to reign here. That's not to say that I have a better answer than the combination of Seaborns and the light. Even still, the emotions, regret, the conversations I found collected over this journey alongside the general became my answer and my take. Honestly, I don't really know what the city all that well either. Memories only go back a year for what is particularly my entire existence. I've been surrounded by the scenarios in our adventure. Still, I want to keep trying. You're right, the city is an absurd, vicious place. Something new and horrible surprises me every other day, but there's the light you spoke of. I don't think that's what protects the ego, the sense of self. To protect it, you have to first look unflinchingly both ways. The path that lies ahead and the one that you've walked. Then you confront them both. It can't be right. Light, you're just working based on what you heard about the city and the light, ain't that right? How can you be so confident the light will be able to protect the Seaborn sense of selves? Ain't that what you want to believe? I think it's a distinct possibility. Even if the light can do what you hope it does, it won't change anything. Turning your nature kind of by transferring the Seaborn's a convenient method like that isn't our path. Because the sense of self protected like that, the kind of nature attained like that, wouldn't be our own. It'd be yours. Protect your own sense of self while being compassionate and kind. It's the path of unbearable suffering. We might fail some days despite our best efforts. Some days we'll be forced to confront the sins of our past and suffer. Fair. Not one of us, as we are now, may seem the culmination of our path. Yet I can hardly find it within myself to simply leave it all in thy hands without so much as trying. You're saying that Seaborns can't be the answer I've always sought. Doesn't make sense if you think about it, Mares. The Yosemons don't even know what self means. That's why they show no hesitation before sacrifice. If you were to introduce the sense of self to the Seaborn, that selflessness you want will be no more. He's a serpent-shaped distortion who is not a Seaborn, an endless anguish contemplating distortion. If Mare's wish is to achieve an altruistic world, then her desire has to be that she doesn't want her efforts to become meaningless. Seaborns may be a perfect answer for some people. A recent example, Fabius, is clear to me that was precisely his wish, but that doesn't seem to align with yours. Find a new answer, Miss Mix. You're telling me I have to go back to wandering for so much time again in search of that new answer? You won't be alone on the path. Walk it together, relying on one another, and it won't feel as long. Trying to carry such a burden by yourself, Miss Mares, it's such a prideful thing to do.
タンテさん、なんだかただならぬ気配を感じます。
흑수묘 뒷박질 준비.
모험하군.
과연
Ow, that hurts. And you stop? Okay, no, you're... Yeah, okay.
뭘 위해
I can make it to the second part,
수건을
the fight, but
적질 않나.
잠깐
너의
これ
쓸모를
がリン
보여라.
バスカンパニーのやり方なんですね。
that's not good. Because what's he going for?
불가 위약.
그쪽 방향이 아닐 텐데.
Well, one of these weird things.
따가울걸요? 일단 베이면 상처에서 안 떨어질 테니까.
이 스며들 듯하는 비. 우산이 새지나 않나 모르겠소.
모든 결과들은 파우스트가 알아요.
You know, you could beat that, but
내가 죽어도 묘난
혈염도 바로 모아쳐라.
Oh, you're dead. Goodbye.
진짜 즐
敵が優勢です
너의
状
쓸모를
況を
보여라.
今一度把握し直さなければ
Hey, why did they give it... They basically give it protection from everything. What's the... Like, hold on. Mm.
많이 따가울걸요? 일단 베이면 상처에서 안 떨어질 테니까.
The damage isn't super high, but
インバスカンパニーの皆さんとご一緒できて本当に嬉しいです
this is just trying to be... That's not... Is this favored? It is going to the last one. And it was the second. Who's this going to? Which one was that? 1, 2, 3. Third one. 4 into, no, wait, why is everything's changing? Which one is this going to? That's going to Faust. That one goes to Faust again. Which one's going for you? And is that last one? Which one's going for you? Can't fucking see it with all this away. Let's the last one and the second to last one. Okay, that undid everything I just freaking did.
어느 쪽일지 잘.
You're just gonna do what you want anyway.
죽음이여, 한 번 더 나를 비껴가라.
Hello.
내 걸음이 일찍 도착했어.
뜻을 바로 해주시죠.
Everything just went to shit.
동이 될 때까지 이 천장에 남고 싶었는데.
I'm thinking I don't know, I only got one thing, which just lowers their defense. I feel like there's gonna be I missed the pathway that I should take and using the wrong people. It's basically what I'm thinking. And the other stream's about to start. So I will have to come back to this later. Because it reminds me of when the other event with the doctor, where you have to use the specific things, otherwise it's your butt's gonna get kicked. Then you have to disable the right passives they have, and it's like I'd rather just have the. You already gave me a hard boss. Do I need another one? That will be it for now. If I can beat that or whatnot. As I think other stream should be starting up. I'll have to join that. So, thanks for joining. Come back to this, but mostly it's like I don't know what's up with this banner, because the times that I have gotten something, I think I've rolled on this banner a couple times, and all 5 things I've gotten have been dupes, which is very confusing. Which is nice in one way, but also I don't get the egos, and I don't know if the point is the egos make it easier or something, I don't know. So, either I'll come back to this tomorrow or something else. Yeah. I mean, Natsu on yet? Because we're supposed to be doing that other thing. Or did he fall asleep? Where is my... Okay, he is online, so probably be switching over pretty soon. So that will be it for Limbus Company for tonight. Should be playing Helldivers with Matsu and Soul Black in about 30 minutes or so. So thanks for dropping in. Have a good day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.